Well, the focus of the first part is fast reading, basically, and that's why it is difficult. Do you remember Nosrat fast reading?
Yes.
Okay. Um,
It was
Get
very old-fashioned.
yeah.
Yeah.
Get one sentence from each page.
Yes.
Look at a few words.
I,
I never could get because I listen to all of the like those tapes, but I could never like understand how that works because you never understand what the what the book or something is saying when you just look at like 5 words from a page.
yeah, okay. And well, yeah, it's a good idea. I mean, it's had the concept is is right, but the
Yeah.
way it was presented probably wasn't. Okay, and in a way, it is it is relevant in English, and I will tell you why. Because you know, okay, let me say it this way. The reading has three parts. Part A. In order to understand what we need to do, we need to know what skills are required. Okay. And so 20 questions in 15 minutes. And there are 4 texts. Okay. So lots of text. And 4 texts, 20 questions, 15 minutes. The focus is on basically fast reading. And what do we mean by fast reading? We have different levels of reading, and one of them is deep or detailed reading or careful reading. And then the next level would be skimming. Then it would be scanning and surveying. Okay. I should actually separate these. Right. So what are these? What do I mean by any of these? What's the difference?
The level of understanding and the level of details we get from the that text like is different, definitely.
Good. Okay. And what is a skimming?
uh, I think for the scheming we need to take a look at every like sentence but not read it like word by word.
That's scanning. No, no.
Scanning every
Yeah, the scanning is looking for a special word in it.
Okay. Right. Okay. I look at this section, opinion. Okay. Right. Let's look at this. Hello. It is frozen. Okay. Okay, I'm happy. Let's look at this. What to learn from A-level chaos. GCSE results should now be thrown in the bin. Okay. So what is this? What does that mean? Is the writer happy or sad or upset, or how does the writer think?
it's not happy.
Not happy, exactly.
How do you know?
From throwing in the bin and
Okay.
chaos.
Chaos and thrown in the bin. Okay, good. So the introduction of an algorithm ignored the fact that losers shout louder than winners. Okay, how about that?
Yeah, still not happy.
Okay, right. And you look at the picture, trust teachers, not Tories, promoted beyond competence, and our government failed us. Okay, so basically they're not happy. Right. So now look at me and see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm looking for a word which is the name of a person. So I want to see who is responsible. Okay, what should I do? I scan. Okay, Doctor, what is scanning? Just looking for a name. Okay, I have a name here, Gavin Williamson, and then I have another name here, Matt Hancock, and then I have no other names. Okay, so I've got two names. Yep, and so let's see, Gavin Williamson. Okay, and Matt Hancock. Okay, so Williamson made the same mistake as did his health colleague, Matt Hancock. Okay, uh, who are these? They have made a mistake. Okay, right. So these two people have made a mistake. So that is a scanning. Okay. Uh, so what is a skimming? Now this is a skimming. Please listen to me. Poor Gavin Williamson this year have been his dream. More British students ever will go to university. More than ever will be from disadvantaged backgrounds, unexamined. A levels stand to credit. 2% more getting A and A star grades. People's everywhere, picture jumping for joy, and time-honored newspaper fashion. Okay, so what is this? What was it about? What did you understand? I just understood that this year, British students, uh, more British students will go more than ever, will go to university from disadvantaged backgrounds because their A levels without examination are 2% higher. Okay, 2% more of them getting A and A star. And everywhere, students are pictured jumping for joy, so they're happy. Okay. So this means that the more students have been given A and A star without examinations, and that's why some people are not happy. Okay. So now look at this. But these are facts, and facts make poor headlines. Facts make poor headlines. Instead, all the chickens of Whitehall's quantification mania become home to roost. Williamson made the same mistake did his health colleague Matt Hancock, left mathematicians in charge of the Hen House. Their algorithm ignored Sod's law of democracy that losers shout louder than winners, made third level examinees losers. A mob rule predictably broke out. Okay, so what is that? And this is how I basically what did I do? I skimmed.
Skim.
Okay, so how did I skim? Poor. Gavin Williamson this year should have been his dream. Okay, should have been. So more British students than ever will go on to university. More than ever will be from disadvantaged backgrounds. Okay, and their unexamined A levels will stand for their credit. 2% more getting A and A star. Pupils everywhere should be pictured jumping for joy, so they're happy. Okay. Now, but these are facts, and facts make poor headlines. Okay. So it means that they don't like facts. We don't like facts. Instead, all chickens of Whitehall's quantification mania have come home to roost. Okay. Williamson made the same mistake, so same mistake as did his health colleague, Matt Hancock. And then he left mathematicians in charge, okay, in charge of the hen house. So their algorithm ignored, okay, the such law of democracy that losers shout louder than winners, okay. It made a third of all A-level examinees losers, okay, a third. Okay, so the mob rule predictably broke out, and mob rule, okay. Now, we don't know some of these expressions, but let's see how it actually makes sense. So we can see poor Gavin had to should have been this year should have been his dream. More students going to university from disadvantaged backgrounds and with unexamined credits and A star grades, and they're jumping for joy because they're so happy. Okay, and then the facts make poor headlines. It means the facts are not important. Lies are more liked by people. All chickens of White House quantification mania. Okay, so there is somewhere that they want to quantify everything. They're crazy about quantification, and all their chickens have now come home to roost. It means gavishun zayide. So he made the same mistake as his health colleague. Okay, and he put mathematicians in charge of the hen house. Now, and they ignored that losers shout louder, and we now have third of the examinees as losers, and that's why a third of the examinees are now shouting. Okay, so basically, a third of all the students are now unhappy because they say, well, now everybody has got an A star, so they're no longer happy because yeah, some people worked harder and they were expecting to go to university. Now everybody now goes to university. Okay, right. So that is the how we skim. So what is skimming then? Tell me. Uh,
Looking for bold and some dates.
uh,
Things.
Main words or meaning words, which are usually nouns and verbs. Okay, these are the most important. After that, we have adverbs and adjectives. And with less importance, then we have prepositions and articles. Okay. But I mean, the most important part of any sentence is this, nouns and verbs. Okay. And as you can see, most of these are nouns. Okay. Dream, university, disadvantage, background, credit, jumping for joy, facts, headlines, poor headlines, facts make poor headlines, chickens, quantification mania, same mistake, health colleague, ignored, losers, shout louder, examinees, third, mob rule, broke out. So lots of these, most of these are nouns and verbs, but some adjectives. So basically that is what skimming is. I'll give you another example. If I say, where's your bicycle? Oh, it's in the shed in the back garden. Okay. Now, so if I say, so where's your bicycle? Shed back garden. Uh, does that make a difference? No.
The
Okay. But if I say it's in the shed in the back garden, look at how many words. It is in the shed in the back garden. So that's 9 words. But what is important is shed back garden. That's 3 words. Okay. And that's what is actually stressed in sentence, in intonation. Okay. And that's what you hear in English. So I say, okay, where's your bicycle? Oh, it's in the shed in the back garden. So it's in the shed in the back garden. Shed back garden. That's it. It's in the shed in the back garden. Um, And this is because English is a syllable based. It's a stress based, not syllable based. Okay, syllable based languages are like Italian. Uh, you hear the same rhythm. Okay, but here in English, you don't hear the same rhythm. So actually, things change. The rhythm changes. Okay. Now, so it's a very important skill to develop. So skimming, it means by looking at some of the words, and as you said, by looking at three words to understand what one page says. Okay, but it's an exaggeration. We can't do that with three or five words. But in fact, in one paragraph, look at that. How many words do we need to understand or remember this paragraph? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Well, 10 or 11 words to understand what this paragraph says. Okay. Um, okay. So scanning, we said when we find out a particular noun or word. What is surveying? Survey?
If we just look at the whole text, how many paragraph it has.
Mm-hmm.
If it's less than just finding a word, I don't know. But I think
Um,
not like even looking for a particular word.
mhm. Well, if you buy a house, you have to go and ask for a survey. Okay, so a surveyor comes and looks at your house, right? So what does a surveyor do? They look at the general layout. They look at the materials that are used. Okay, so a very general overview of the house. So they say, okay, this house is this is the, for example, 100 square meters. There are three bedrooms and how many windows, how many doors, how many rooms, and so on. So that's the survey. So it means a very general overview. And this is the focus of the first part of the reading. Okay, and fast reading. Now, the ideal is to read all the parts, but in practice, it is not possible. Okay, let's do a sample. Um, okay, Dr. Which ones have you done? Have you done fractures,
Yes.
dislocations? Okay. Have you done paracetamol poisoning?
Yes.
Okay. Um, have you done the third one? What is that? The third one? Part A, question paper, booklet. What is this?
This one I think was difficult. Was about
How about this? Management of burns.
no, I didn't. No.
Okay. Um, well, I'm not sure if we should do this or do one that you have done before, but I think we can do this one because then you both haven't seen before. Okay.
Yes.
But let's see how we can approach that. So this is the text booklet. This is a question paper. Do you want me to send them to you?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Um, okay. So I send you the whole. And yeah, so so we need to open the text booklet and question paper for part A. Okay, and so this is the question paper, and this is the text. Okay, so the text usually is four parts. Okay, text A, B, C, and D. And usually one of the parts, or sometimes two of them, is a table, a picture, a graph, something like um, which is a non-text, basically, more like a schema. The questions are always the same in the same order. Basically, you get 5 to 7 matching questions, okay? And after that, you have some short answers and sentence completion. Okay? Uh, so, in a way, we don't need to actually go and look at the questions beforehand because the format is the same. So what we need to do is, well, Dr. What do you normally do when you approach a test like this?
Uh, Me, uh, very fast. I actually look at the headings, uh,
Good.
A, B, C, D,
Hmm?
and just because of this time and the beginning of each actually paragraph, which might be in every box, just like this, and then go to the questions. But
Okay.
yes, there was a other book. Uh, mm, I can't remember the name. These boxes was very difficult because there was no signpost, no headings, just a box of writing from top to bottom.
Okay.
These are very difficult.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, obviously. So we need to change it then. I mean, if you get anything like that, basically, what you're saying is it's easier when you have something like this. If you have headings, if you have this subheadings, if you have different, okay, and if you have bullet points like this, okay. So if you don't have this, you need to make them, okay. So basically, I'm looking and what you're saying is called surveying, okay? We're surveying now. So we survey first, and then we say a first, second degree, and third degree extends to, this is the, explains the reason we call full thickness. We don't want any more detail, okay? And mixed depth, okay? So what is the first text A about? What can we write? What can we name it?
Explanation of burn depths
Or types of burn.
types.
Okay, okay. You can even write in Farsi if you want. You just say anwar sukhtagi. Okay. Now, fluid resuscitation. So, what is text B about? Okay. So one of them is I cannot actually do that, but resuscitation, fluid resuscitation. So we have some percentages here. IV fluids, and then elderly, and suggested regimen. Okay, for fluid, so there's a regimen for resuscitation, adults and children. Okay, so what is this? What do we call it?
Uh,
Fluid resuscitation.
Fluid
Part
resuscitation.
yeah,
A.
Okay,
to manage the fluid management of the patient.
okay, okay, uh, okay. My art. Part C, text C, management for burns. Okay, and assess, and then assess the status, depth and extent. So there is a type of, it tells us what to do. Then cooling and pain control and immunization and fluid resuscitation, debridement, application of antibiotics, and dressing. Okay, so it says, what is this? The general management. Okay, so C is general management. How about D? It's a table. It talks about analgesics. Okay, so short term, less than 72 hours oral analgesia. Okay, and then reviewed after 72 hours. Okay, so that is pain score 1 to 10, mild, moderate, severe. So we go down. We don't go to any more detail. Pediatric. Okay, and this is the pediatric. Paracetamol, non-steroidal opioids. Okay. Now that is surveying. So what should we call this? Uh,
Pain management or analgesia.
Analgesia or drugs or pain management. Okay. Now we go there to the first section. Now we have 5 questions here. Now, in which text can you find information about age-related considerations for initial treatment of burn injuries? Okay. So initial management. Which one?
The third one.
C. Okay, we put C here. Okay. The risks involved in certain treatments. Risks.
Again,
It was C probably,
C.
but I
C.
would take a look at it again. Yeah.
Oh, we just guess and go.
Yeah.
When to start thinking about a specialist treatment options.
C again.
Okay. Yeah, treatment informed by patient self-assessment.
D.
D. was
D.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
D was
Uh,
just pain management.
Okay. D and C. Okay. How to categorize the severity of a
B.
burn?
It was A.
Categories.
A.
A. Okay. Now, now we go to the next part, next section. We have how many here? We have about 6 to 13. So that's 8. So classification of burn injuries depend on the amount of what caused. Okay. Where do you think? I mean, what is the keyword here?
Classification of burn injuries.
Okay. So one is classification, and then what else? Amount of what caused. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably injury or damage. So where do you think it would be? Classification.
First paragraph.
First.
Okay. So you put A here. Okay. Do you have pen and paper?
Yes.
Okay. So if you put A for here, we don't go to A now. Okay. Let's go and look at the next question. 7. Patients recovering from third-degree burns are likely to experience a great deal of shrinkage and what of their skin? Where do you think this might be?
It should be
A again. Recovering from
maybe it's maybe C or A.
Okay, so put C or A here. Okay. And when evaluating mixed depth, you should take into account how the burn looks and whether there is what in the affected area. Mixed depth. Okay. Evaluating mixed depth. Where should I look?
A, I guess.
Okay.
No. B was fluid management.
Yeah, that's A, I think, because it says about the different type of burn, but it's about the management. So I probably go for the C more than A.
Okay, so it's evaluating. Okay, C or A. You should cool burn injuries by taking off any what? Cool burn injuries.
C.
Okay. Jewelry. So we put C here. When cooling the wound, make sure you don't put the patient at risk of what?
You can see.
Okay, C. The patient may require what booster depending on when they were last immunized.
You can
Immunized.
see.
Okay, C. And you should consider leaving what undisturbed, as this may help prevent infection. Leave something undisturbed, probably blisters.
C again.
Okay. You should apply ointments containing what to all deeper burns.
You can see.
Okay. So how many A's do we have?
I think we didn't have any, or just
A?
one. We did have.
Right.
Most of them were. Yes, we have one A, and most of them were C. Others.
Okay, but we have this one is A, and then this one you said C or A.
Yeah.
So But the ones that you have A in them, one of them is classification, depends on the amount of something caused. Okay. What else?
And
Evaluating mixed depth. Okay. How the bend looks and whether there is what in the affected. Okay.
so I think it
So,
should be A because it's evaluating should be A. Yeah.
okay. So we go to A and skim. We're looking for what? We're looking for uh,
What
amount of
criteria?
what in the
Yeah.
classification and also mixed burns, what it looks like. Okay.
Yes.
So burn injuries are classified according to how much tissue damage is present. So what's the answer?
Tissue damage.
Tissue damage. Thank you. And then in mixed burn, our burns are frequently clinicians should estimate the average depth by the appearance and presence of sensation. And okay. So what is the answer? Whether there is sensation in the
Sensation.
affected area. So that would be the amount of damage caused, damage, the amount of tissue damage,
Yeah.
and this one is
Sensation.
there is sensation. Okay, so do we have any B's?
No.
No. Okay. Do we have any C's?
Yes. All of the
Uh,
others are C.
okay, so this is third degree shrinkage and what? Okay, so we have a third degree, and then we have uh, cooling and jewelry and what? Okay, then we have cooling and there is a risk with cooling, immunization, what needs to be undisturbed, and ointments. Okay, so let's go to, did you say C?
C. Yeah.
Okay, okay, right. So again, so we've done 10. No, we haven't done 10. We've done 8. No, 6.
6 and 8.
Yeah, we've done 6 and 8. Okay. Patient recovering from third degree, great degree of shrinkage and what? Okay. So we need third degree shrinkage. Do we see that here? Scanning. We don't have any third degrees here, do we?
No.
No. Okay. So it's probably not here. Right.
To A again? Or no? Not at this point.
Well, we do it later, but it's not here. Okay, so the other one is cooling injuries, yeah? Removing jewelry or something. So cooling is here. Remove jewelry or hot clothing.
Hot clothes.
So hot clothing is the answer. Limit inflammation by using cool water. Cool saline soaked gauze or larger sheet. In case of a large wound, cool the wound, not the patient, taking care not to cause hypothermia. So the answer to the other question is, so this one is taking off any hot clothes or jewelry and don't put the patient at risk of hypothermia.
Okay.
Agree?
Yeah.
And then needs a booster immunization. Do we have, yes, immunization here? Check and update tetanus. Okay. So the answer is patient may require a tetanus booster depending on when they were last immunized. Okay. Leaving what undisturbed because they prevent probably blisters, but leaving intact. Okay. Because blister acts as a barrier to infection. So we should say you should consider leaving blisters undisturbed as these may help prevent infection. Apply ointments containing what to all deeper bends. What is that? Ointments should always be used to prevent infection in any non-superficial, okay? Antibiotics in the form of ointments, okay? So you should apply ointments containing antibiotics to all deep bends. Okay. How was that? That is quicker than going one by one from the questions, okay? Because once you go to the text, okay, then you don't have to go to another and then come back. So you actually, and if you can remember more, you can actually quickly skim this and say, okay, this was the answer to this one: hot clothing and hypothermia and tetanus and then blisters, antibiotics. Okay, so we've got all of those. So the next set of questions. Again, in the case of mixed depth burns, what factor determines the local treatment, what local treatment to give? So, mixed depth treatment.
It's C probably again.
Okay. We were at C now, weren't we?
Yeah. What? There wasn't any mix. There wasn't any mixed burn.
So,
So
how about here?
A.
Mixed burn.
Yeah, mixed burn is in the A. So
Okay.
we have left another question in that part that it was a
Yeah.
mixed burn.
Okay, so in the case of mixed depth burns, what factor determines the local treatment to give? So, it is A.
A.
What is maximum number of tries recommended for attaching a drip at the scene of a burns accident? Drip.
C. Drips.
Fluid therapy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
B. Okay.
Yes.
How much resuscitation fluid should the child receive per kilo
B.
over? Okay. Before attaching a fluid resuscitation drip,
A.
and what additional analgesic is recommended in the first
D.
instance? D. Okay. What route should be used to administer ibuprofen to children?
D.
After how long should a patient's pain relief regime be evaluated? Okay, so do we have any A's here?
No. Yes, one. The
Okay.
mix.
What factor determines the local treatment to give? Mixed burn. Clinician should estimate and average the depth by appearance and the presence of sensation based on the total of second and third degree burns, and local treatment should be based on the burn thickness at any specific site.
Yeah.
Local treatment, yeah, so what
based
factor
on
determines local treatment to give?
the depth of the burn thickness, I think.
Burn thickness, okay. Burn thickness, okay. And so what was the other one that we didn't have here? We missed number, remember? Mixed depth.
Yeah.
How the burn looks and whether there is, sensation.
Yeah. We did look at that again.
Patients recovering from third degree are likely to experience a great deal of shrinkage and what? Okay, so we have third degree here, yeah? So burn extends underlying tissue, remaining skin dry and white, hair, healing, considered contraction and scarring, okay? So shrinkage means contraction and scarring of their skin. Okay, so should we go to B now to see what we need? Okay, what is the maximum number of tries and resuscitation fluid for children and 9-year-old and first instance what route for children and how long should a patient's pain relief regime be evaluated? Okay, so let's go to B. B or yes. So what was the question? Maximum number of tries. Okay, so tries. Let's see. Should be started, not be delayed, threshold closer, Hartmann solution, and the first and this and this. So it's not here. No. Nope. Could you guess where it might be?
That was the tries for fluid, right? Maybe here.
So we've looked at here, okay, and then we looked at A, and there was nothing about how many times we try, okay. And now we looked at part B, and here it doesn't say how many times we can try. Okay? So what is left is part D. Yes?
Yeah.
So it must be somewhere. Okay.
Mm.
Where is it?
No. I think if it was exam, I would leave it or just write something like 4 or 5.
Okay, thank you. Just leave it.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Right. Okay, so what should I do now? Go to the next
Yeah.
question. Okay. Now, look at this. Should not be delayed by more than 2 cannulation attempts.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That's two.
Okay. So, if we go, so what is the maximum number of tries recommended for attaching drip at the scene of a burns incident? 2.
Two.
Okay. How much resuscitation fluid should a child receive per kilo over 20? Per kilo over 20. Child over 20 per kilo.
It's
Uh, a child over 20, over 20. Where is 20 kilo?
here. 100 per first 10 kilo and 50 for the next 10 and plus 20 for each extra. So if it says more than 20, I don't know if you should give that's just 20 milligram per kg.
You need to calculate that, yes?
Yeah.
So, so the first 10 kilogram
It's
is
1,000,
100, and
1,500 is,
for the next 10 kilogram is 50.
yeah,
So
is
that is 150,
1,100.
yes?
Yeah.
150. Okay. So how much resuscitation? Per kilo, 150 milliliters. Okay? Per kilo.
No, it says per kilo over 20, so it should be 20. So then it I my understanding is that say that when a child is more than 20, after 20, how much child should receive for each kilo? Is it wrong? I don't know.
Per over 20, how much fluid should a child receive per kilo over 20? Over 20. Okay?
Uh, is it like the whole calculation or just the 20 milliliter per kg for that's the
Just,
last one?
yeah, if someone is 20 kilograms, if someone is over 20, a child who is over 20, needs to get 10 for the first 10 kilogram, 100 for first 10 kilogram, and 50 for the second 10 kilograms. So if someone is 20, that would be 150 milliliters per kilogram. But if it becomes 21 kilogram, then it becomes 170.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So the first 20 kilograms is 150. Okay. So that would be 150. Before attaching a fluid resuscitation drip to a 9-year-old, what percentage of the body needs to be affected? Okay, 9-year-old, what percentage? 9-year-old, what percentage?
It's, we need to go, I think, down because they
No,
talk.
it's here.
Oh, okay.
It's up here. Uh, 10% in children.
Okay.
Okay. What's the answer?
10%.
10%. Okay.
Yeah.
So what? Before attaching a fluid resuscitation to 9-year-old, percentage, what percent of the body needs to be affected? 10%.
Yeah.
What any additional analgesic is recommended in the first instance for a patient with moderate level of pain? First instance, moderate level. What analgesic? Okay, so that is obviously part D. Okay, moderate first.
tramadol or is it tramadol
Trauma.
Is it? Okay.
or
Uh, what additional?
additional?
Yes.
Sorry.
In the first instance, for patients with a moderate, that's correct. Tramadol. Okay, that's correct. Okay. The next question: what route should be used to administer ibuprofen to children? Ibuprofen, children,
Ura.
oral. Okay. What route? Oral.
Oh,
After how long should a patient's pain relief regime be reevaluated? Uh, we had it here. Reviewed after 72 hours. Okay. Right. So we go back to these 5 questions. Age-related considerations for initial treatment of burn injuries.
uh, it's it wasn't the D.
It was or it wasn't?
No, no, it was in the B.
Okay, yes.
It was
Age-related was this one, yeah? So adults, children, and yes. So is that, so that is B? Risk involved in certain treatments?
this one certain
B.
treatments.
B. Was B or C?
B or
C.
A.
C.
There is no.
C.
Here? Does it talk about any risks?
It was in the A that talked about the shrinkage and
Mm-hmm.
it was in the A.
A.
It was about shrinkage and scarring.
No, he need treatment.
It's
B. B. Doctor.
should be considered.
Yes. So there's a regime of blood resuscitation.
What does it say about the risks?
So maybe that pain regimen, the risk. Yeah. The review if pain cannot be considered. So,
Okay. Didn't find it?
No.
Okay. So what do you think?
it was a very noteworthy question. Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay. So it says what risks involved in certain treatments. So risks. Where are the risks discussed? Anywhere. Where do you think?
It should
Uh,
be of treatment, one like fluid management or antibiotics, so we don't have any other treatments in any other sections.
okay. So we need to say where are treatments discussed. So where the risks are discussed. Okay. So where are the treatments discussed?
Treatments are in B and D and
Uh,
C.
Yeah.
huh?
C.
So some people say debridement, leaving intact blisters. Some others say debride all blisters. Most agree that necrotic skin should be removed. And okay, so maybe we could consider that as different things. But yes, so how about the other risks? Well, healing associated with considerable contraction and scarring. Okay. So here, the risks involved in certain treatments. So if it says the risk involved in certain burns, that would be A. But it says in certain treatments, so probably it is C maybe? I don't know, just a thought. So let's
Yeah.
put whatever you think. When do you start thinking about the specialist treatment options? When should we think about a specialist?
I still think it might be C.
All right. Was there any mention of a specialist here?
I don't
Uh,
always got to prevent any nutrition. No, it doesn't say anything about specialist.
okay. So how about part B? Do we have any mention of a specialist here?
Maybe in C? No, there is no special.
No.
No, C maybe.
So we didn't have any in C. How about D?
Yes, recommended analgesia.
Burn, yeah, here.
Yes.
Severe pain. Consider
If pain cannot
admission
be
to
controlled with
burn
oral.
unit.
Yep. So consider admission to burns unit. So basically that's this one is what? D. Okay. Treatment informed by patient self-assessment. What is that?
Treatment informed by
Self-assessment.
Yeah.
So this
I
is
see.
again.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's again D. How to categorize the severity of burn is A.
Yeah.
Okay. So how's that? What do you think?
Yeah, it's good, but still, I think some of the questions are more challenging. So, I usually what I do in these cases, I put whatever I think that is correct. I usually don't stuck in a
Yeah.
question. So, after like if I have time at the end, especially in these ones that are like very time management is very important. So I put something, I mark the question, and I will come back at that question if I have time.
I think you cannot do that because the time is very restrained, you know, and
Okay.
this 20 question 50 minute you're gonna actually دیگه بهت سوالا رو نمیدن میگیرن
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That when I don't know the answer to one question, I won't
just leave it
yeah. I just put something there. I don't leave it. I just
Yeah.
put something there
Yeah.
that that's my best guess.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
yeah, if
That's
I have time, I will come back. If no, at least I put something there.
okay. And that is a very valid point. So basically, we don't want to waste any time
Yeah.
on any question because the questions have the same mark. So whether I spend 10 seconds on this or 30 seconds, it doesn't matter because the answer is just one mark.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did we do? Did we answer all of them correctly? So this is B,
Just
C,
one of
D,
the we
D, A.
think we weren't sure, wasn't sure about that. So I think all of the others, I don't know. The answers are here. So B, C, D, D, A. I think we answered all of them correctly.
Okay. Tissue damage, scarring, sensation, hot clothing, hypothermia, tetanus, blisters, antibiotics, thickness, and 20 milliliters, 10%, tramadol, orally, 72 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just the 20, that was 20.
20 milliliters, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what would you do differently from what we did? I think number one, do not waste time on any question. If you know it there and then, just write it. If you don't know, just skip. Just write something. Okay. So when we are here, this bit, sentence completion, you need to pay special attention not to put any extra words, okay?
Yeah.
And it needs to make sense grammatically because it says classification of burn injuries depends on the amount of tissue damage caused. If we, if I write damage, is it correct or wrong?
Wrong.
It is wrong if I write only damage because it is tissue damage. Okay?
Yeah.
So remember, sometimes two words make sense together. So if we write only damage, it is not acceptable. We have to write tissue damage. Okay? Sometimes we have to write 20 milliliters. Okay? Here, this is 20 milliliters. If I only write 20, it is wrong.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's very important in this part of the test. In this part of the test, even this milliliter is important. Okay? And 10%, you need to write percent because it says what percentage. If you write 10, it is wrong. You need to say 10%. Okay? Now, basically, the other thing is sometimes, yeah, so the two words are together, like tissue damage, that makes sense together, so you cannot write one of them. Sometimes, if you write an extra word, it is wrong, okay? So that is also the case. Here, clothing alone is not the answer, but actually hot clothing is the answer. So if you don't write hot, it is wrong. If you just write clothing, okay?
Yeah.
Right. So these are, and you're not allowed to have any uh, spelling mistakes. If you write scoring with one R, it will be wrong because you can see the correct word. And whatever you answer, it must be in the text. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I think you do the same thing. Basically, what you did was you actually uh, surveyed very quickly. Okay. But the way I survey, I would probably just look at the first words of this as well. Okay. Or maybe the keywords. And if you can, if you are fast, then you can actually just quickly skim everything. Okay. And then, yeah, look at the percentages here. Look at the age, 60, first 24 is 34, Hartmann's percent, 100, so 200. Okay, so, that's basically the survey. After surveying,
Sorry about that type of the like. Is it always like this that all the four parts are the same, like related to one
Yes.
subject, and
yes,
then so
yes,
it's like actually like a long text, but it's like subdivided in four parts.
that's right, exactly. But they're categorized, okay?
Yeah.
And usually there are more questions in the first part. Usually there are six or seven. This is the first time I see a five. But I mean, these ones, I think you just do them in, I don't know, 30 seconds. Don't waste time on these because later you will have time to look at them. Just have an idea what you're looking for. And if you can remember them later, okay? Um, so, yeah, and I think the best way is actually to go by text, not number by number. If you go by number, then you go to six, you go to A, you skim that, you find the answer, then you answer this. Then you go to seven, it says go to D. Then you go to D, you skim that, then you come back here. Then it says go to A again. So you go, so that doesn't make sense. The best way is actually to categorize them, to put them together and go to the text only once. And when you skim the text, then you can also remember these and see, oh, actually, we can say this is number two was, yeah. that one, the risk involved in certain treatments. Okay, so sometimes you can see that the answers accidentally. So you just skimming and you just find out, oh, here that is tetanus. Okay, so uh, that is the approach to part A. Now, what do you think, Doctor? Do you think you could do this quicker next time?
Uh, um, I need to take some practice
Hmm.
on what you have told us. Yes, it's better.
I think you've been doing this the same thing, but the only difference here is, I would say, don't go question by question, but actually, and don't waste any time on any single question because the most important thing is to look at all the questions. And sometimes you see the answers accidentally. So when you see it somewhere, you say, "Oh, this is the answer to that question I missed," so you can find it. In a way, I think, yeah, when you come to C, just skim all the text. Some people say, okay, I find my answer here. Why should I bother to go down here? Because you've done most of the job. So just three, four more lines, and then you have looked at all the text. So that's much better. That's much better use of the time. Because who knows, maybe in the next section you have questions from here. So basically, what I'm saying is, yeah, once you looked at this, you say, okay, yeah, so cooling, hot clothing, okay, hypothermia, tetanus, blister. Don't finish here. Just carry on and say, okay, most agree that necrotic should be removed and application antibiotics. So you see, we had this later, antibiotics, and then suitable dressing in the wound area. Okay.